Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, this is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And man, oh man, it's one of them situations where we obviously see, especially in the culture out there, that common sense is starting to return, right? It's a lot of people are starting to back off of a lot of the diversity, inclusion, and equity, agenda-driven stuff we've seen. If you look at a lot of the major corporations during June, you saw a lot less Pride logos, actually very few and far between for a lot of the major corporations out there. You just see a shift in the culture. Obviously, we could talk about the election if we wanted to, but it's just one of those situations where obviously the culture always leads everything out there, right? This change has been happening for a very long time. We've seen box office disastrous dumpster fire after disastrous dumpster fire where Hollywood has lost billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars on pushing and driving for this kind of agenda. Same thing with television show, video games, and everywhere else. Obviously, the culture has shifted, and the things that avoid agenda-driven nonsense and narratives and things like that generally end up succeeding very well. We can talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, #1 R-rated movie at the box office of all time, boys and girls, or we can talk about the success of Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, and a lot of these other kind of video games and stuff out there that's just doing really, really well. Well, boys and girls, as we've known for a very, very long time, no matter how much of an established brand you are, no matter how much an absolute legend you are in the culture, it does not matter. The cancel culture mob will absolutely try to come for you if you step one single toe out of line with the spirit of the age. And of course, that is happening to none other than absolute rap legend, Snoop Doggy Dog himself, boys and girls, because after simply taking the common sense approach that you don't want to have to explain a gay relationship to your grandchildren while you're trying to watch a Disney, what is supposed to be considered family movie, well, color us shocked there, boys and girls. Grandpa Snoop is getting lambasted by everyone out there in Hollywood that can possibly find a microphone to talk about this because Snoop Doggy Dog doesn't agree with the not-so-secret gay agenda coming into Disney Pixar. And clearly, Disney doesn't agree with that anymore either because they fired a bunch of their activist employees and flat out said that Lightyear itself flopped because of the gay agenda. We know this because a bunch of ex-employees spoke to IGN and told us all about it, boys and girls. So despite all of the Hollywood backlash, guess what? Even Disney agrees with Snoop Dogg that this stuff has no place in family and especially children's entertainment. So we're going to get this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details of all of the backlash from a bunch of no-name idiots out there trying to make a name for themselves by bashing on an absolute legend. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 2,100. We're sailing our way towards 100,000. I think we're sitting at like 2,172, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, there's a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about all this. Where do you stand on all of this? Do you think this stuff has a place in children's entertainment? Or do you side with Snoop Dogg over here with a little bit of common sense out there and saying this kind of stuff does not have a place in children's entertainment and is definitely not something that Grandpa Snoop has to explain to his grandkid out there, his grand puppy, after all, boys and girls? Let us know what you think about all of that in the comment section down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. And as a friendly reminder, all opinions are welcome down below. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanaro. Hollywood turns on Snoop Dogg. Rapper faces heat after blasting Disney's Pixar Lightyear. And based on the box office returns, it looks like the majority of Disney's audiences agree with Snoop Dogg. When Snoop Dogg spoke this week about Disney Pixar's Lightyear, it put him directly in Hollywood's crosshairs. After sharing his frustration with the film's two-mom subplot, the rap legend is now facing censorship, celebrity attacks, and even calls to cancel his upcoming live performance. Yes, boys and girls, it's not enough that the spirit of the age disagrees with your opinion. No, the spirit of the age must also make sure that you're not allowed to even make any money or work if you step the toe out of line. Fortunately enough, we now live in a world where we see the fact that cancel culture and the mob doesn't have as much power as what they said. But they literally, according to this report, they have even edited out this part of the podcast. Yes, boys and girls, gotta rewrite that history after all, but it's too late. We live in an age of the internet. Once it's out there, good luck hiding it. Next to getting the NSA and the CIA involved, and even then, we find things. It's too late. The cat is out of the bag. You can go back and edit it all you want. It does not matter. You're not rewriting history on this one. We've all documented it all too much. So guess what? Unless they literally scrub every article about this, every single video, and every single person that has talked about this, it's too late. It won't matter. And guess what? The ward's remnant and common sense is back in vogue for the culture out there. So I think Snoop's probably going to be fine, but it just once again shows you that even a legend like Snoop Dogg, universally loved by the majority of Hollywood and the culture as a whole. Yes, indeed, boys and girls, even that is not protection from the cancel culture mob out there. The story isn't about Snoop Dogg anymore. It's about how Hollywood reacts when one of its own dares to question the Disney cultural agenda, and how Snoop himself may be shifting with the times. On its Giving podcast, Snoop recounted how watching Lightyear with his grandson turned him into an awkward moment when the boy asked Papa Snoop, "How does she have a baby with a woman?" The rapper admitted he was blindsided. "I didn't come here for this garbage. I just came here to watch the movie." And it's one, he said it in much more explicit terms, but obviously you probably listened to his rap music. If not, you understand the context. Snoop and the women just threw him for a loop. The honesty struck a chord with many parents and grandparents who felt the same way. And apparently Disney's own bean counters agree. But it also sparked immediate outrage from Hollywood circles. The fallout came fast. Podcast censorship. Reports suggest it's Giving either cut or altered the segment after backlash, raising questions about whether the platforms are scrubbing dissent against Disney. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen something like this. Celebrity combination. Media personality T.S. Madison, which I looked up on this. I clicked on this TMZ thing. I don't know who any of this person is at all. I don't know who this person is that works for TMZ. Maybe if you guys out there in the chat know and you can tell us about all this kind of stuff, but the video's already out there. It doesn't matter to me, but it sounds like it's just a clout chaser out there. But needless to say, media personality T.S. Madison rallied against Snoop on TMZ Live, accusing him of being part of the problem and demanding he embrace pride-centric conversations with kids. That's right, boys and girls. The agenda's loudest vocal people want you to talk about adult things with children. That's not creepy or weird at all now, is it? In Australia, lawmakers and commentators have called for Snoop to be dropped from his AFL Grand Finale performance, with some labeling him a slur merchant. Why? Just because he doesn't want to have uncomfortable conversations about baby making to his grandkids? I know, strange concept. That apparently makes you a slur merchant. What began as one man expressing discomfort at a children's film has snowballed into a full-blown industry pile-on. The controversy also reveals something bigger. Snoop Dogg is involved with cultural moment. Back in 2017, Snoop made headlines for his Lavender video, where he mocked executed a Trump character called Ronald Crump. He was one of Hollywood's loudest celebrity critics of the U.S. president. My, how times change. Fast forward to 2025, and Snoop stunned observers by performing at the Crypto Ball, a Trump-adjacent inauguration event. Critics accused him of selling out. Snoop defended himself by saying the gig was about promoting crypto and financial literacy, not endorsing Trump. And yeah, me thinks Mr. Snoop Doggy Dog might be a lot smarter than a lot of these idiot detractors out there. He also noted that he was nothing but love for Respect and Trump, going back to their time together on The Apprentice in 2007. And also because Trump pardoned Death Row Records' founder out there, which is who hired Snoop and gave him his big break and his big start. So yeah, Trump doing that probably changed a little bit of Snoop's mind. It's almost like a strange concept. He's not actually the monster they make him out to be. I know, weird concept. The shift is undeniable. The once reliably progressive Snoop Dogg is increasingly voicing thoughts that they align with the cultural conservatives, including criticisms of Disney. And anybody that knows the black community very well at all, or ever looks at any of the polling data issue by issue with them is, yeah, the black community generally polls a lot more conservative issue by issue than even the white community does. So needless to say, this is something they're not exactly totally on board with. I know, weird concept. An ethnic group out there that all of their grandmothers dragged into church every Sunday isn't okay with your gay agenda and children's entertainment. I know, boggles the mind, doesn't it? Disney's Pixar Lightyear subplot showing Elisa Hawthorne and her wife raising a child was initially cut, only be reinstated after activist pressure during Disney's clash over Florida's parental rights and education law. The movie was celebrated by Hollywood voices. Not entirely. Actually, the LA Times called it a gay bait and switch. Literally, they were like, oh, the Lightyears, there's all this gay stuff in it, yada, yada, yada. That was all the marketing about this movie. It was gay, 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 gay. The gayest Pixar movie ever, if you ask that wonderful little Hollywood guy out there. But literally, Because it was literally a blink and you miss it moment. The actual gay kiss, right? Literally a blink and you miss it. So yeah, it was pretty funny. The Snoop Dogg Disney fallout isn't about children's film. It's about how Hollywood enforces its cultural rules and even how established stars can find themselves punished for going against the script. Mind you, of course, in all fairness to that Park Place, the LA Times isn't exactly the Hollywood Reporter as far as cultural news is concerned either. Speak out against Disney Pixar? Expect censorship and condemnation. Question the messaging in kids' movies? Prepare for other celebrities to call you out. Change with the times, as Snoop has. Hollywood won't forgive you for it. And although a lot of actual lever pullers behind the scenes probably realizes that pushing the activist agenda is only going to lose them hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars more than they already have, at the end of the day, publicly, Hollywood is never going to change its stance on this. You will always get in trouble in Hollywood for saying this kind of stuff, at least for a generation, because that's how long it's going to take the culture to change in there in Hollywood. They will be some of the last places holding out the woke flag. Just like our government and all of its corruption, how long it'll take to get all of that purged out. They are the last places you will find this stuff go, right? Because literally, like Gary Buechler, Nerdrotic has said a million times in the past, Hollywood is not where trends go to start. Hollywood is where trends go to die, right? And so it will die with them, and they will be the last ones holding up that flag. That, like I said, I've said it a million times before. There are some people possessed by the spirit of the age that will walk into hell claiming that they were right and God is nothing more than a bigot. Okay? That's why they will hold on to this longer than anyone else. For families, Snoop's comments resonated because they echoed what many have quietly felt. Disney should stop sneaking ideological messaging into animated films and return to making timeless stories. Weird. It's almost like generational values and generational stories that represent those values are generational. Unlike Lightyear. Snoop Dogg may not have set out to become a culture warrior, but Hollywood's reaction to his Disney criticism has made him one. The same industry that once cheered his anti-Trump barbs is now brandishing him a villain for echoing the concerns of millions of parents. Much like what's happened to J.K. Rowling, much what's like happened to anybody else that spoke out against the spirit of the age. Does not matter how established they are, does not matter how much praise they have gotten in the past from these talking heads, spirit of the age possessed sycophants. Once you step a single toe out of line, it doesn't matter if Snoop agrees with them on 99% of things, just like J.K. Rowling, it does not matter. If you do not fall in line with the full propaganda, you will end up they will try to cancel you. They will try to censor you. The same, now echoing millions of voices of parents. Perhaps Snoop's story shows even how entertainers change with the times. As America shifts, so does he, and how his blunt honesty is highlighting just how out of touch Hollywood has become with his audiences. His blunt honesty. I see what you did there, Marvin. But Snoop's right, and so is Marvin, and so is everybody else that agrees with him. This kind of stuff does not belong in children's entertainment. It's the reason why Lightyear is considered a flop, even by the Hollywood trade magazines. It's the reason why Bros flopped. It's the reason why Eternals flopped. It's the reason why name your other favorite franchise that the spirit of the age has gotten a hold of and completely and totally trounced. Do I even need to bother bringing up Rings of Power again? Because it's not just about the LGBT agenda in kids' entertainment. That was the breaking point for the vast majority of the culture out there. And that's why you see a shift in things, because guess what? They don't want you talking about adult things to their children. I know, strange concept. And with the exception of the absolute most insane and demonically possessed parents out there, the majority of parents agree with that. And Snoop Dogg is just the latest big time celebrity voice to come out and speak just a little common sense into the world. But this just shows you how much control Lucifer and the rest of the spirit of the age and all of its evil has control over Hollywood. Because even someone like Snoop Dogg, an absolute legend that agrees with 99% of the devil's agenda out there, it doesn't matter. You step one toe out of line. You even try to introduce a semblance of common sense back into the conversation, and that cannot be allowed. And even Snoop Doggy Dog himself, they will try to cancel. But at the end of the day, I think this puppy is going to be just fine because Snoop is an absolute legend, and these are just a bunch of screaming cultists out there, part of a dying agenda that we will see fail and flop, just like all of their movies and all of their stories were. Shout out to Snoop Dogg for being a hell of a good grandpa and breathing a little common sense back into the culture. After all, we've got your back, And the evil out there has lost all of its power. Cancel culture, you have no control over us anymore. A big shout out to all of our subscribers and members out there. Thanks for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe if you have not already.